What's up and welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Herman Palmgren. I am a mobile app developer. Mobile apps is all that I think about. I have an app portfolio that's currently making around $10,000 per month, and in the last couple of weeks I've been studying mobile app onboardings like a madman. And I've come to the conclusion that a lot of apps are killing their download to pay rate by having a poor onboarding experience. Now, let me tell you that your mobile app onboarding should be considered a core feature of your app. You should put as much time and effort into your onboarding as you do for all other features inside of your mobile app. And in this video today, we're gonna take a look at and break down one of the most successful mobile app onboardings out there, Duolingo. If you haven't been living under a rock, you've definitely heard about them. It's a language learning app. They make around $40 million per month from 4 million downloads, which is an incredible conversion rate, and you're going to see why. So get your pens out, get your books out, make some notes on how you can implement a similar flow into your mobile app. And if you want to see more of these mobile app onboarding breakdowns, there's a link down below in the description for you where you can check out 10 more leading mobile apps that are incredible onboardings, and you can make some notes and you can learn from the best ones there. But let's dive into the video. We're taking a look at probably the app of the app. So this is probably one of the more famous mobile apps that are mobile first, given that their main platform is actually mobile, and they make a lot of money. It's a big company and has been around for quite some time. You've definitely heard of them unless you've been living under a rock. So Duolingo, they make around $40 million per month from 5 million monthly installs. That's quite a large conversion rate. So quite a lot of people who download the app actually end up paying to some degree. I've been a victim of this. I've definitely downloaded Duolingo, gone through the onboarding, thought that I was going to learn Chinese quickly, and paid for it. But let's take a look at how this onboarding works. It's quite an extensive onboarding, as you can see, a lot of screens, but we're going to dive into it and break it down and see what they do really successfully. So first of all, little splash screen, pretty standard, nothing spectacular. And then you're getting taken to either get started or I already have an account. So first of all, continue. They introduce you to a Duo, which is this little bird who's kind of the face of Duolingo, so to speak. Then it immediately gets you into personalization. So this is something that a lot of successful apps do, and something that you can definitely input into your apps to the greatest extent possible. And that is to add personalization before you ask about account creation or actually any payment. What this will do is this will get the user committed to the app to some degree, thinking that, okay, I've already put my information in here. The app knows stuff about me. I'm kind of seeing and visualizing how this app could solve the problem that I think that I have or that I do have. And therefore, I'm going to be more likely to either create an account and pay as we go. So straight away, without really anything else, you're first being introduced to the bird, and then you're taken straight to personalization. And then if we choose Korean, for example, we click there and then it says course building. Now, this is something, again, that I use in a lot of my apps, where instead of saying course building or just displaying some type of loading thing where it probably takes half a second for Duolingo to set this up, I'm kind of, adding some progress. So obviously I just use, probably 5 or 6 seconds. And then I say hard coded inside of my app. I say throughout 6 seconds, just say we're building this course, and then take the user forward in the onboarding flow. And what this does is this makes the app feel more personalized to the user. They think that, okay, they're really creating something for me in particular here based on the input that I've given. So I am going to get value out of this app. This could just be, half a second loading screen and then boom, on to the next one. But we're saying that we're building this course out for this user in particular. And then we're adding some social proof. This can be scattered throughout your onboarding to the greatest extent possible, and should be. Add social proof where possible. Say how many people are using your app, talk about your ratings, talk about how much more likely they are to reach the goal using your app compared to another app, and really sprinkle that in throughout the onboarding. Then just some attribution for the marketing team. But how did you hear about Duolingo? Then you can select this. This is also, while this is just a nice attribution for the marketing team, what it also is, it's just the user clicking stuff and inputting stuff into the app, increasing this feeling of I'm actually adding to the app and I'm telling the app stuff about myself. So it will be more likely that I go through the onboarding entirely because I'm already committed. Then we get to a little bit of a setup. So how much Korean do you know? And then it will say I'm fresh to Korean, or I can discuss blah, blah, blah. You can just pick whatever. And then it's saying, okay, we'll start fresh. And then best thing to pack is the local language. And then it will say, what are you learning this for? And I have this in a lot of my apps too. Not a lot of this is actually used for personalization. So I have a couple of things in my app where I just ask, so why are you quitting nicotine pouches, for example? And I give the user a bunch of options, but I don't actually use these options anywhere in the app, but it makes the user feel as if the app will be more personalized to them. So if you're building an app, you don't have to make it personalized based on what people input. But if you get them to input stuff like this in the onboarding, they will be more likely to go through with actually signing up because they think that the app will be more personalized for them. Then we move on to a learning goal, and then this is just where you get to pick. So now, just already in the onboarding, we haven't paid, we haven't created an account, but we're already saying that we're committing to a specific number of minutes per day. So you even get to say that, okay, I'm going to commit to doing 15 minutes per day, and that's it. So now we go again to psychology a little bit. It's called social identity theory. And once you've committed to this, you've kind of created an identity as someone, okay, I've committed to learning this language, and you're going to stick with this identity throughout, meaning that if that entails creating an account and entails paying later on, you're more likely to do so. Cool. And then it's going on and we're saying, nice, that's 25 hours in the first week. Boom. Then we get to a key retention moment. So one retention moment for a lot of apps is notifications. Notifications allow the apps, to reach the users anytime, either through server-side notifications saying that, hey, get back to your practice, or we've updated the app and added these features, for example. But in Duolingo's case, it will be able to notify the user saying, hey, don't forget about your daily practice. And what this does, it makes the user more likely to go into the app and actually use the app, which will, in the long term, boost retention, meaning that people stay for longer and they pay for longer, and Duolingo makes more money. So do this. Don't do this straight away. Don't ask for notifications as soon as they hop in, but tie it to some type of value. So I'll remind you to practice so that it becomes a habit. This seems positive for the user, and Duolingo in return gets a key retention moment, which in this case is the user enabling notifications. Then we get to another key retention moment, which is I'll share from you from the home screen, which is where they advertise that they have a widget. You can actually add the widget straight from the app there, which is pretty neat. I haven't seen that from a lot of other apps. But obviously a widget will also be a key retention moment. And Duolingo probably has data on this, that if the user has the widget enabled, they're more likely to be a high retention user because they're going to be using the app more frequently, and then they're going to be paying for longer. And then it's saying, oh yeah, if you press add my widget, it's taking you through the instructions on how to add the widget. Then what this does is this kind of paints a picture of what the user can achieve. And this is what makes the Duolingo onboarding so incredibly, incredibly good. And this kind of goes, if you read Alex Hormozzi's book, for example, it's called $100 Million Offers, I think. And it's what do you want to achieve, when can you achieve it, and how likely are you to achieve it. So here, they've already touched upon what can you achieve by saying that in 3 months, you can converse with confidence, you can build up your vocabulary, and you can develop a learning habit. So they've really painted this picture of what the user can achieve and will achieve with Duolingo. And now you're really getting to this point where you're actually solving the user's problem and outlining how this will be solved. Then we're moving on to where would you like to start? So we can either start from scratch or we can find your level. And if you select start from scratch, you're getting taken to your first lesson. Now, keep in mind here, we haven't paid at all. We haven't created an account, but we're already in our first Korean lesson. So here we get a little bit of a demo of the product in and of itself. It's pretty short lesson. So we're not going to dive into that, into the actual technicalities of learning it. But obviously Duolingo is also a good product, which is why it makes so much money and why it's so successful. You can't do this if you have a shitty product, but Duolingo has both a great onboarding and a great product, and here they display the product in the onboarding. So the user gets a look at the app in and of itself, and they get to see that, okay, wow, this is a pretty nice and intuitive UI and UX. Nice. And then you're actually having, this is another key moment here. A streak is born. Practice every day to help it grow. So here you're being told already that you have a 1-day streak. And now people like streaks. Like you remember the days back on Snapchat where people would talk to people they didn't even like just to keep up with the streak that they had. This kept on going for years and it was a wild time. But people are again, we're going back to the social identity theory. They want to be consistent. We have a desire as people to be consistent with the persona and the personality that we created and curated both towards ourselves, but also towards other people. And once we start talking about streaks, what we get to is we want to be someone who's actually maintaining and keeping up with that streak. So you want to be someone like, yeah, I've got a Duolingo streak. Nice, good for me. You can also use that internally, but also externally. And then we're doing some more social proof here, but you'll be 2 times more likely to complete the course if you get to this 50-day streak or 30-day streak, for example. And again, we get to use this language that is, I'm committed to this goal, where we're again playing into this identity theory type of stuff. And then again, we add our widget here combined with some social proof that learners with our widget are 60% more likely to keep their streak in a month. So where you can integrate this social proof, just talk about social proof. Like if you do this, you'll be 8x more likely to do this. So, and focus on action that you want the user to take, and change in the user's perceived quality of their outcome. So if you can, then implement this in as many places as you can. This can be as simply as allowing notifications correlates with users being 58% more likely of actually completing their learning Spanish goal, or whatever it is in your case. So then it says, don't lose your progress. Let's create a profile. So it kind of frames this now as we create a profile, not because the user has to do that for Duolingo to work properly, but rather to keep the user's progress. So some interesting wording choices here. And when you go through your onboarding, be as smart as you can with as lot of this wording as possible, because each step here, if the user continues in the step here, they'll be more likely to pay when we get to the end. So then we actually get to the create account. So we can first of all start with age, then we go with name, and then we go with email, and then a password. So pretty simple way, and we're doing it in different steps too, and we can see the progress up here. It's probably a choice that we're not doing this all in one page, because this feels more digestible. When the user is often hit with these long screens of how old are you, what's your name, what's your password, what's your email, it's a lot of questions in one page, and that tends to be a drop-off point in these onboarding steps, because once you have to enter a lot of information, that becomes a task, that becomes annoying, and it's much more likely to just do 26 and then just your name and then just your email, as opposed to doing it all in one page. So that's another key takeaway that you can take from Duolingo, is split it up. Don't put a lot of information in one page, split it up into as many pages as you can. Then we go to the paywall. And here they call these super learners. So the people who pay are obviously super learners. So then it kind of highlights the difference here between free and the super. And it adds, ads. We all hate ads. We want to practice our skills. We want to review our mistakes, etc., etc. So it kind of highlights how much more you get for premium. And then it's a free week as well. And then again, we get back to what a lot of apps do now these days, is that we'll remind you before your trial ends. And this is for 2 things. 1, people are more likely to sign up when they think that they will have a chance to actually cancel. But 2, it also goes to show the legitimacy of the product, that we're not trying to get you to forget your trial, but actually we believe that the product is of the quality that we say it is, and therefore we're willing to and able to remind you about actually canceling the product if you want to, but we're so confident that you're going to be happy with it that we don't mind, because we know that you're not going to be canceling it while you're in it. So then you press start my free week, and then you're taken to which plan that you want to choose. And here they've obviously curated obviously this is the follow of a lot of A/B tests, but they've shown their plans that have the highest lifetime value based on the tests that they've done. That's a side note, definitely A/B test your paywall. Your paywall design and your paywall copy can make a lot of difference in how many users sign up and which plan that they choose. So what the user then uses here is the individual, and this is a little bit sneaky because it looks like it's $7.99 per month, but it's actually for 12 months and it's going to be $95.99. So you start your free week, and then after that you bill yearly. Then you can also press all plans, and you can actually just choose monthly, where you see that's quite a bit more expensive. And then after that, you're taken into start your free day trial, and then you're getting taken to whatever you're paying here. And boom, that is the Duolingo onboarding. As you can see, it's quite extensive. They have quite a few best practices in there that we've taken a look at. There's Early on, there's personalization, and there are some features that make it seem as if it's more personalized than it actually is. There's a lot of social proof in there. There's product demos straight away. There are some key retention moments, such as the notifications and the widgets that are being enabled during onboarding. And at the very last, we're actually asking for account creation, and we're splitting this up in multiple steps. So there's not a big screen of just information that the user needs to enter, but rather small steps that the user can take that seem more digestible and seem more manageable. And after that, we're taken into a pretty nicely designed paywall with multiple options on plans to proceed with, and some clever copy and design to make it seem as if it's cheaper than it actually will be. But also with this thing that we're seeing a lot of now, where the user can actually be reminded about their trial ending so that they can cancel if they want to. So that's Duolingo, one of the better performing apps, and an incredible onboarding that has a lot of steps we can learn from and implement in our own apps.